Hey, this is Update Conference Prague 2019 again, and I have a guest with me, Mei-Chin.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi.
Mei-Chin, can you tell us what's your position in Microsoft? What do you do?
I'm a dev manager working at Microsoft. My team owns a C# compiler and VB compiler and .NET runtime.
So you are responsible for all those things that concerns the runtime,
Yes.
including the just-in-time compiler and things
JIT,
like that,
yes.
garbage collection,
Yes.
all those things.
Yes. Actually, there was an interesting conversation. There's one time I introduced myself as I'm a dev manager for runtime, and that guy looked at me and say, "You mean the whole runtime?" Actually, runtime had always been a whole. And a lot of things that runtime does that most people don't know. Well-known pieces like garbage collection and also JIT, assembly loading, type loading, the diagnostic support, and a bunch of profiling tooling that we provide as well. And I think Roslyn compiler is well known. You guys all enjoy programming in C#, all the new features that show up, and some of the features actually requires runtime support as well. The famous one, span. Without runtime support, it would never run fast. Default interface method, that also requires runtime change. Of course, language itself can innovate a lot without runtime support, like nullable reference type, for example. Yeah.
Okay, and the problem of the runtime is that it's not visible. We expect it to be there, but as a developer, we interact with the language and the compiler, but the runtime, it's just there.
Yes.
So it's hard to, for some people, it's hard to imagine what are all the pieces which compose in such thing. And of course, it's a very important piece. It's the most important piece. Without that, the application couldn't exist.
Yeah, so that's actually a very good observation. When developer write in C# and compile the code, right? When you deploy your code, do you know who come with you? Me, the runtime team.
Yeah.
And it's interesting fact to observe runtime team has been always the largest group within the .NET space. Actually, we have 40 people working in the runtime space. That is actually ensure that when you take your code to go to cloud, to go to your device, go into the IoT, it all works well. And well is actually really important key. We want developer to focus on their problem, not trying to solve a problem that does not belong to them after they think they finished developing. So we view a lot of fundamentals are critical for us, and I think that's where .NET differentiate itself from the other ecosystem. We view performance very key to us. We view scalability very key to us. We also view diagnostic ability is really important. After all, we want developers to be productive, and we want you to be worry-free. And that's what we are doing, headlessly workers here, to make your world better.
Yeah, and I think that's a great job you are doing because
It's actually really a cool job because recently I was asked about who do I work with, since I am mostly now working with individual developers. Who do I work with? Runtime is actually really cool. If you think about it, we work with large workload. First party is like Bing. Third party like Quitio. It's a French company, has 6 data centers. Runs the C# code. Scalability issues, latency issues, they come to us. So we got the opportunity to looking into some unordinary workload. We also work really close with hardware vendors and companies. When chip innovation happens, Intel, AMD, ARM all work really close to us. So your code go to a different architecture, runs perfectly, hopefully. And that is our job. Yep.
Yeah, that's great.
Thank you.
I would like to ask about your session. You were talking about just-in-time and IoT compilation in CLR. So can you just summarize what have you been talking about?
Sure. We were talking about how the runtime design philosophy is. It's trying to make sure the runtime performance out of the box works for everybody, right? And JIT certainly is a very critical component, but we want to make sure that when you're trying to generate code, you want to generate code at the right place. And when you receive your application, you get that first good impression. So my talk is talking about how to do the trade-off between the ahead-of-time compiler and JIT, and how do we play with the tooling like cross-gen, and that application can benefit from its performance. And I think I also cover a little bit about tier compilation. Cross-gen and tier compilation both are introduced in .NET Core 3.0. It is certain configuration that developer can play with if they wish to see some of the dark magic that runtime has been doing. The default tuning will work great for everybody, but you want to play with it, play with it. So check out my talk. There are some tips on how to do configuration, and there are some tips on how to play with the cross-gen and play with it and give us some feedback. We always love to get feedback from the developers.
That's great. Yeah. And what's next for you?
What's next for me in .NET 5, we have a bunch of innovation that we like to do. We have some innovating ideas in GC, and you probably will have a chance, we'll probably share. We would like to improve some of our latency scenarios, and we are building the next generation of the AOT tech. It's actually quite critical in some of the large workload. They really depend on this, and it feels very powerful when you can help business. Some of them are Microsoft critical business. Some of them could be third-party business runs well. And so certainly diagnostics, something that we're always looking into. We want to close some of the gap that we have in Linux, because we have been Linux for about 3-4 years, and we still have gap to close. And you also know that C# 9 has some bunch of new features coming out. So just stay tuned and follow us there. And personally, I still have 1.5 a day in Prague. I'm going to do some sightseeing, and I'll probably go back to my favorite bar again. Okay. Can I tell everybody that Prague has beautiful bars? Thank you so much for having me here.
It was a pleasure to be here with you, and I hope that you enjoyed the rest of your stay in the city.
I did. This is a very wonderful experience. Thank you for having us here, and it's a great opportunity to meet the host and to meet the developers and talk to people who care about performance.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.